There we go.
There we go. Hey, everybody, we're live. This is Kurt Mully and Mr. Jeff Schechter here. Hey, it is great to see you all. It is August 15th, 2016. Schechter, you're going to have to help me out just a little bit as we go through this. If there seems to be a slight delay, I know Hangouts was having a little problem today. Please just let me know. And, oh, great. It says Hangouts on Air, I just found out, is moving to YouTube Live. Use YouTube Live to schedule events happening after September 12th.
Okay.
Checky, have you ever noticed that Google hardly ever makes changes?
Yeah, never. Also, I don't know if you're experiencing it on your side, but your audio is a little bit delayed from the way your lips are moving. So it's not horrible. I mean, but it's there's definitely a delay.
Oh, this is going to be a perfect subject matter, by the way, for us. There's a couple of things. Let me see. I'm going to close out a couple of other things here real quick. This is actually going to be a really great point. So, Shecky, we got a bunch of people who are showing up to the call right now. Really blessed, really appreciate that. And we're going to talk about the death of Blab today for many of the very same reasons of what you're seeing right now. For example, Shecky, let me give you one thing that Blab had said that was really a detriment to live video. And I just thought this was absolutely great. They said one of the detriments to live video is the recording. And here's why. Because what you and I are doing right now of fixing this technical problem could be funny if you told jokes, or maybe it's funny as we're going through this as people are live. But Shecky, how entertained would you be at this very moment if you were watching the replay and we were 3 minutes in and we were blabbing about something that we hadn't got to the point yet? What would you be doing right now?
I would probably be clicking that little box that shuts it off.
You know, that's one of the main things that they said was the reason and the big failure is Blab, which I thought was really interesting. And you should see my lips kind of scoot up here, or the Wi-Fi kind of readjust itself here in just a minute. But Blab said that was one of the biggest problems that they had. They said that unfortunately only 10% of their user base was even showing back up on even a monthly basis. Now, Shecky, you know, one of the interesting stats is on Facebook itself, you know, the average person will spend anywhere from 20 to up to, I think, almost close to 30 minutes a day now on Facebook on average. So every time they log in, the experience is over 30 minutes, typically. Or combined for the day. Pokemon Go, they're saying, is actually beating that. But Blab at one time had people that would come hang out for 45 minutes or an hour. Now, I know, Shecky, this probably doesn't appeal to your demographic or for your market or really for you, but Blab basically said, by the way, the reason that we left Blab and the reason kind of part of we're recording this and talking about this is because, Shecky, if you remember the ironic day and how the universe works, we did a big blab on mobile. We talked about how great mobile was. We talked about the change of mobile. We talked about everything that was going on with mobile. And Shecky, do you remember what happened when we started talking about mobile on Blab that day, that one Monday day?
Well, we had a lot of technical difficulties with Blab.
Do you remember why we had technical difficulties that day?
I don't.
It's because it stopped working on mobile.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Well, because the thing was, what we were doing is, Shecky, can you still see my camera, or did it cut out on you?
No, I'm seeing you just fine. There's still a bit of a delay, but I see you clearly.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more thing here that I think should take care of the problem. Then I'll come back on because for some reason my video doesn't show up. Oh, Shecky, you know, I'm on my Mac, and you know it's gonna start working very well here in just a minute. My Mac is gonna work a lot better because all of my Microsoft programs just crashed, and that is why I'm having a delay on my.
Yeah. I'm going to log out of a couple things too, just to save bandwidth here.
Yeah, but it's not your side. It's 100%. It's 100% my side.
All right, then I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is when you're inside of a broadcast like this, if you remember how we learned the hard way, we're like, oh, we can definitely shut down a broadcast and come back. We found out that is not really how it works. Isn't that right, Shecky?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there we go. This is all going to come. Ready? Oh. Shecky, how's that? Is that a lot better?
The delay is shorter now.
Figure it out. Yeah, it'll get better. I promise you. So, you know, one of the things that the article was talking about, let me go ahead and just pull this article up right now, Shecky. I know I had sent it to you. You and I were talking about it a little bit, but one of the things is, let me go ahead and share this article just with everybody. Where are we at? Here we go. And
one of the things that I thought that while you're doing that, one of the things that I thought that was really interesting, that was the conversation about the two different kinds of users on Blab.
Ooh, thank you.
Right, because like there's guys like us that'll say, hey, look, this is a great platform for us to talk about marketing and put things out there for our users and our students and just use it as a platform for training, right? But it turns out that a lot of people were using it more just kind of as this sort of open social network. In other words, like, maybe these kids were coming home from school, 4 o'clock, and a whole bunch of them pile on to the same Blab so they can all just kind of hang out and see each other at the same time. So there's no real content being delivered, but they're using it to make friends.
That's exactly what it is. So if we read this, just what I have up here on the screen. So what went wrong, number one, with Blab? Most live streams suck. Well, of 3.9 million total users, only 10% came back on a regular basis. Well, why? Most live streams aren't interesting enough to justify what they're doing to watch the broadcast. One of the reasons that, I'll just be very transparent with you, one of the reasons that Shecky and I do this regular hangout is because it keeps us on our toes, and we commit to the public that we will do this every single Monday. So what does that mean? That means that Shecky and I have to research what's our topic, what are we going to do, how are we going to plan it out, what does that look like, how long is it, how can we take this content, put it on the blog, like some of you are watching from the blog right now. How do we make sure that the content on our blog aligns with our overall avatar? Is because most live streams just they don't have enough content. What ends up happening is exactly what Shecky says. It turns out it's just really killed Meerkat, Periscope, Facebook Live. They say Facebook Live starting to see the pain. Shecky, you've said this before, but I've also commented, just because you're in the industry, so you may be a little jaded, but you're like, ever since Facebook Live came out, now everybody's an expert. Yeah. You're like, there's some people you want to hear about, but you're like 9 out of 10 people, you don't want to listen to them ramble. And I know you've said that you've unfollowed people and stuff like that. I mean, just a user experience, how people are supposed to market, because you've seen my philosophies for years and you've done a lot of your own research as well too. I mean, what is your personal opinion as a consumer when you see all these live video feeds that, well, I don't even have to tell you what they're like. I mean, what do you think?
I can't honestly speak to, I don't know if Facebook Live is feeling the pain or not. That just may be some sort of, comment that those guys made in the article. But I can tell you that I have experienced my own pain with Facebook Live. And granted, I'm an unusual user because I'm on the inside of the industry, right? So obviously I know what good content looks like, and how, when somebody is delivering good content, how engaging it is. But yeah, it's true. It's like all these people say, well, gosh, there's this great platform. I'm just going to get on there and start talking and, show my expertise, right? But the interesting comment that came from this article was like, most of that content is not compelling enough to have people drop whatever they're doing to watch a live presentation.
Yep.
Right. And, I'll see stuff coming through my feed, like, Bob is live, Judy's live, Tony's live. It's like, and I just go, so friggin' what? Like, I don't care, and I'm busy. I got other things to do, but it's like, look, if Tony Robbins was live, like somebody who had already made this like gargantuan name for themselves, I might drop in for 5 or 10 minutes if I had the time, just to see if there, I could pick up a good tip or pointer. But that's a person I already know has, super high relevance to stuff that I'm interested in.
Or it's kind of like I just highlighted this line right here. Or it's kind of like karaoke, right? Just because you can have a microphone in your hand doesn't mean that you should.
Yeah. If you go to the karaoke bar, there's usually 2 different kinds of singers, right? So the ones that go every week and they've got actually pretty decent voices, and they're actually quite a pleasure to listen to.
Or you got the drunk people who just made up a liquid courage after the last 6 months of not singing to anybody but in the shower. And
well, are you talking about me again? Because I don't.
I wouldn't know. I've never heard you sing in the shower. So that's probably a good thing.
I have done karaoke.
But I mean, the thing is Shecky, you're right, is people without content or an audience, it's one of the things that we teach is we really talk about congruent content. I kind of made the funny joke in the email that we sent out today, which is like, hey, did you hear they killed Blab over the weekend? And then our email starts out with a cheesy ad. It's not an ad, but that's what Facebook's really looking to do. They're saying, okay, so we find out from, for example, we find out from Blab that one of the biggest reasons Blab didn't work is, well, they weren't coming back to the replay. Less than 10% of the people were coming to the replay. So you got to make your live content good. One of the things, Shecky, that we talked a lot about is we have some, here, let me bring back on my camera here for a second. There's one other article I want to share with you, but I want to talk about this on camera. Shecky, we had a really interesting experience this weekend. I had a couple of clients in town. And some of these people are, in companies where they're doing over 6 figures a month with very little overhead and very little cost. But it's because their stuff's so relevant. And I remember telling our client, Shecky, when I looked out to her, because we were at this event where so many people are learning about internet marketing. And basically she would sit there and I would show her, I'd be like, hey, look, you don't have to worry about running paid traffic for the main reason of, just really, 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 really simple. Let me try to get that out of the way. There we go. Really simple is she has highly relevant organic traffic. But I shouldn't say highly relevant organic. I should just say highly relevant. And then everything else really just starts to happen. So for example, someone like Alexis, Shecky, someone who's really educated and they have some content and some context. Should someone like that do a live feed?
Yes, I think so. But someone like that also has a pretty big following. In other words, in her world, she has established herself as a leader and a credible source of information, just like Tony Robbins has established himself the same way in the personal development world. Right? So if you've already got that establishment, I think it's great. If you're wanting to leverage Facebook Live to establish yourself, even though you haven't, again, I'm not saying I'm an expert at this. It's just my feeling based on that medium and what we see in marketing, that's probably going to be a pretty big uphill battle for you if you're not already at least somewhat known or don't have any kind of an email list or anything like that. Like if you're brand new to the game and you're trying to brand yourself as X, right? And you just get on Facebook Live and start talking, man, you are going to have to be really absolutely amazing to get any kind of traction.
So just to be perfectly clear, Shecky, I agree with partially of what you said. This is why I like doing this kind of stuff, because we get to kind of go back and forth on it too, right? So I think if you feel that you have to be a perceived expert, unequivocally, I feel it's going to be an uphill battle. Shecky, many years ago, they would teach like in network marketing, for example, right? They would say, hey, what is it? Fake it till you make it. Be the person that you want to be, something like that. And then all these people would see people like in boats and cars and shiny houses or whatever, and they'd like go stand in front of rental houses. And it was just, Shecky, I know you hate that stuff the worst. It's just, and I do too. It's just not authentic, right?
Yeah.
However, Shecky, you could be, just in all fairness, I wouldn't say that you're a nutrition expert, but I would say that you've done a lot of study on nutrition. And I know that you've really studied food, and for many years you've taken care of yourself. Now, I think that this video may have slowed down to almost a stop. Did you see the same thing happen, Shecky?
No, it's fine on my side.
It's interesting because I'll be moving around and I see it just go really slow, and all of a sudden it speeds up real quick, and then it goes. But here's the deal, Shecky, if you wanted to, and you had the right structure, just meaning you knew what to say instead of you could do a 1 or 2 live Facebook videos a week. And if you had, just like you and I do the Blab right now, right? You could do 2 videos a week. If you had the content and you knew what you wanted to talk about, you don't have to be the expert. You could aggregate data, or you could aggregate news stories. You could say, hey, this is just really interesting. Like, Shecky, you do great at this. Hey, this is really interesting. I didn't realize playing this chord on the guitar, you can actually do. Very interesting. I just learned the song, and maybe you just wanted to share an idea with somebody. So you don't have to be the expert to be on Facebook Live or on streaming. But I think probably one of the biggest things that hit me, Shecky, was the 10% return rate for recordings. Yeah. So Facebook says that you're going to have 3 times the amount of engagement if someone's watching you live.
Sure.
But if you do, which I know Shecky's talk about this all the time, if you do what most people do in the first 5 minutes of their video, the first 5 minutes, Shecky, who's watching the video?
everybody's watching the first minute,
Well,
and then they drop off.
well, so on the recording, yes. But on the live video, people don't start showing up just like they don't here on the live video for a couple of minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. It's not instantaneous.
I see what you're getting at. They've got to get the notification and, log in and all that stuff. Yes.
So most people, what they do, and you've heard me say this before, and I'll repeat it again, but most people would be like, well, check I don't know, anybody's not here yet. Well, I was going to do this thing at 7, and I'm not really quite sure, and maybe, I don't know. And then when people come to watch the recording, that's what they see the first 5 minutes. And they're like, this is stupid. Instead, what we start off here is because if someone's going to watch the replay, I immediately go into, hey, this is Kurt Molly, Jeff Schechter here. Today we're going to be talking about clickbait and the death of blog or the death of blab. So people know starting out what they're going to watch and see. So if you are going to do Facebook Live, you don't have to be an expert, but you definitely don't have to be a jackass.
No. But to qualify what you've said, and this is not a brag on my part, but yes, the nutrition thing is something I'm super interested in. And I would say that I probably know more than 95% of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, that means that there's only 5% that know more than me. So if I go and do a Facebook Live and talk about some deep nutrition stuff, there's going to be a lot of information shared with most of the people that have not heard this stuff or not been exposed to it before, or maybe just picked up a shred of it.
So just to be fair, because I don't like when people they feel that they're stuck and they're like, I'm not an expert. I haven't made $1 million. I haven't lost 100 pounds. I don't have 6-pack abs. I can't provide. Shecky, the reason that you would say that you have 95% more knowledge than the rest of the population,
Americans,
right?
Yeah.
Let's just say Americans, right? Is you feel confident because you've been researching this stuff for years, but it's something that you're very, very, very interested in, right?
Right.
And anybody out there can be interested in a subject. Like one of my favorite ones is how kids record like the video tutorials. They're like, hey, you want to watch me play a video game for 3 hours? They're not specially talented. Like they have a little gift that they know how to, run on their game, but people just want to watch because they just want to understand a little bit more. So even if you read some articles about clickbait, for instance, you can go on your newsfeed and talk about clickbait. If you're in online marketing like Shecky and I, a lot of times I'll look through some news stories. And honestly, in the morning, I lay in bed usually for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and I read news stories. And I don't like to hear about the wars in Afghanistan. I'm interested in the latest Facebook algorithm update, or Elon Musk had an idea that can change the world. That's the kind of stuff that I'm really reading. And when I'm seeing some of these updates, that's why I come in here and I share them with you. We don't use Blab anymore whatsoever because it didn't work with mobile. I never go back to the site again because people don't go back to it to watch the recordings from what we were seeing in our stats anyway. If I wasn't reading the news today, it's kind of like a great, 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 great uncle. If I didn't read the news today, I would have no idea that it died. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think you bring up an interesting point, and just to kind of circle back around to basics, the very, very, step one, the first thing about marketing is to give value. So I agree with you, and the qualifier is, even if you go back to this example that we're using of me talking about nutrition, I think for anybody out there, I'm not saying it to, dissuade anybody from using Facebook Live. I think the reality is you have to be passionate about the subject, right? And you have to be passionate about relaying that information to somebody else so that there is a value exchange, so that you're putting out, whether you're curating somebody, look, all this content that I know didn't come from me. I just read and studied and followed people, and it all got curated up into here, right? So I just crammed a bunch of stuff into that old cranium of mine. And I think that anybody that's interested in a subject, I think that tends to happen organically anyway, if you're just a naturally curious person. So as long as you feel like you have something really, really valuable to share, then by all means do it. This is, again, a prediction, right? And maybe, we're going to record this so you can kind of go, we'll see if this comes true, right? I predict that Facebook is going to limit the time amounts on Facebook Live. I think
besides 8 hours?
Yeah, I think it's like, they're to just use and hog all that bandwidth and have all that storage just for people to go blah, 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 blah. I think if they said, look, you've got 8 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, anytime you do a Facebook Live, this is it, and it stops automatically. It's going to force people to put real content into those 8 minutes, rather than just, turn it into this like sort of blase whatever platform.
The interesting thing, Shecky, that they're saying in stats, and some of the video experts that I know that run a bunch of video, they're saying ideal time for a Facebook Live video is 8 to 10 minutes. Ideal time, maximized time is 30 minutes. Like, this is from aggregated data, people watching data, and it kind of goes along the same lines as the length of a typical TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people just don't have long attention spans, and the thing is, I think Facebook knows that they're all about the engagement. So if they want to get the engagement of people watching live videos, not that that's not good now, but Facebook's always looking for ways to improve. If they put out there and said something like, hey, it's now a limited amount of time, now you've automatically injected scarcity into this situation, right? And you say, okay, gosh, if I don't watch this now, it's only on for 8 or 10 minutes, it's going to be gone.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd watch Tony Robbins for 2 hours, and I wouldn't want some rule that doesn't allow him. But there are people on Periscope that you and I have joked about that do sleep scopes. That's somebody just leaving their phone on, having everybody watch them sleep. Yeah, and it's a waste of time and bandwidth and resources and
isn't Periscope dead too?
Why don't you just go away by now, please?
I thought Periscope. No, I seriously thought Periscope was dead too.
I don't know. Check my app. No, I think it's still working. Barely,
because it's It's like, if indeed that's the case, and there's people up there, like doing a video where people can watch them sleep, it's officially dead to me. It's like, I'm not participating.
Shecky, let's be honest with everyone on this, watching this live or recorded presentation. Have you ever downloaded Periscope?
Well, let's not talk about it.
Exactly. It was dead to you before it even started in the first place.
I only was on Snapchat for like 10 minutes.
No. Remember, I got a video from Patty this weekend about you being on Snapchat. She says she wants to see more Pepper and more Shecky, and I downloaded it. I got to send you a text on that. But she requested more salt and pepper on the Snapchats. She said.
Well, Patty, if you're watching, you just keep on requesting. We'll have to love you from a distance.
Well, I think this is interesting, Shecky, when we're talking about the Facebook Live feed. The live we're doing right now, and we're talking about blab dying. At the end of the day, the reason that I wanted to have this here, and this is great, is it really is all about relevant content, right? It's really just all about relevant content. So, Shecky, I'm going to show just a really quick presentation, something that I've been working on for the last 2 weeks that I just want to show everybody here real quick. And I want to, and this is going to be a culmination of what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. Some of the different trainings. You haven't even seen this yet. Let me pull this up here for just a second. It's a Microsoft program, so we'll see if I can.
Excited.
This is something I've been working on that I can really explain. I'm like, hey, look, if you really want to get in this game called online marketing, and you really want to make sure that this is going to work for your products and services. Now, there is a caveat here, and the caveat really is, if you're building an engagement with someone, great. If you are building a brand, like let's just say you have beauty products, health products, coaching, digital products, all of this is going to be great. If you have something like all you sell is, I don't know, mice, right? Like for keyboards, it's the only thing that you sell, might not work as well as in a regular e-commerce way. But let me show you how we show people really how to build this entire momentum. And it's really the presentation's almost done. This is what we really use for clients that I'm going to show you the back end of. And this is what we're using actually for a client that we're going to be spending over $100,000 on their ads in about 6 weeks. So basically what we have is so here's our black book. I'm just going to give you a very, very, very high level view. If you find this interesting, feel free to click around on the blog where you see this video being posted, or you'll see one of the links down below. Very visual, simple, easy concept, Shecky. And Shecky, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, it looks great, dude.
Great. So step one, qualify your avatar. We run likes to qualify our avatar at the lowest possible price, but with the highest relevancy score. We focus on relevance. See, what ends up happening is the strategy overall as we present these new likes, the new people who like our page, and it's really getting them to raise their hand. We find out what content do they like. by videos, posts, website clicks, and retargeting. See, a proper like campaign is going to build for high relevance, and it's going to give us a lower acquisition cost. Many times, Shecky, we can get likes for under 30 cents, but for budgetary purposes, let's just say 30 cents to give people just an idea in mind. Now we're always going to encourage people, make sure, especially on Facebook, that you're posting at least 4 times a day to the business page. Now we go more into this in Social Media Ad Genius that people can check out. There's links all the way over on the page here too. We suggest that you post 4 times a day, use our 10 by 4 by 1 strategy. And Shecky, what happens is, as people are posting congruently, we find the post that just seems to engage more likely. And it doesn't have to be, I crossed out this little mini symbol. It doesn't even have to be a post that's selling something. But what I want to do is I want to find out, okay, how do I qualify content for relevance? We're posting on a regular basis. So which one of the posts seem to resonate really well with our audience? And how can we just go ahead and boost these posts, these highly relevant posts in front of our audience? I mean, most of the time we're seeing boost post engagement for under 10 cents, but you can really budget that you can get somebody, once they like your page, you can get them to see your blog or post or video typically for much less than 20 cents. See, the objective here overall is to have the most relevant and engaging posts that align with your advertising objectives. So twice per week, you're doing these boost posts. You're keeping your content in front of people. The strategy, like I said, is 2 boost posts a week. Focus on relevancy score, a score of 8+. Now, Shecky, this is something we tell people to do all the time. Hey, look, if they're going to like your page, you should at least send them to some kind of blog or some video that says, hey, welcome, here's who we are. This is not selling, it's a piece of content. But just to get in front of the people who like your page for an engagement, it's 20 cents. A video view is usually less than 10 cents. You should be able to see by now, to engage with people 2 or 3 times, you can do it for literally under $1. You can have people see 3 or 4 pieces of your content and be a like. So what ends up happening is we determine the highest relevant promoted post. So the objective here is we figure out, okay, out of all the promoted posts, well, we promoted them just to our fan page. Now what happens if we promote now this post to all of our website clicks and conversions? This means now we have content retargeting set up. Because Shecky, what ends up happening is now that we have content retargeting set up, well, we'll know the exact perfect ad that people love. We know because we've gotten all these likes at the top of our funnel, right? We know which ad they're going to correspond with. So what we do, Shecky, to test out our funnel, Shecky, this is something I didn't even talk to you about. I was talking to Nick about this. We're going to release this to a client. So what we're telling people is, hey, look, instead of us running a whole bunch of website clicks to see if you have a legitimate offer, spending $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to run thousands of clicks, why not just get hundreds of likes and start presenting your offer in front of those likes? Let's just see if we can get a really low-cost acquisition and get some people buying because they're already seeing your content. You don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to see if your offer works. Literally over the course of a week or 2, run an offer to your like ads. You can see website clicks really cheap, but this is a great way to test out your offer. And then, Shecky, what ends up happening is if your offer works, let's just say, Shecky, you're selling a $7 product, right? Yeah. If your offer works targeting just your like campaign, well, now target everybody who's been to your website historically. So you're going from a really hot market to a warm market. But if your people who have visited your website, visited your blogs, watched your content, also buy your product and service with this golden ad, then what we do is we just target the place where we're getting the most qualified likes with this golden ad. The ad that we know is in a boost post, an expanded boost post. Shecky, do you see here how we can take this one golden ad and turn it directly to the best performing audience that we have to bring them into the funnel? Does this make sense?
Yeah, I think it's great, dude. I love the way you explain it. For people, I know you went through that pretty fast. So just for the people. Oh, you got a couple more slides.
Yeah, very, very, very fast from a high level view. So what I was going to say is people can always check out one of our live webinars or contact us directly as well too.
Okay.
But the main thing is go ahead, Shecky.
Go ahead. Well, what I was going to say is just to put it in my own words so that people understand from what you've done 1 through 8 is that by doing likes, you're kind of finding out who is interested in looking at this content, right? And then by running these kinds of golden ads or by doing your boost posts, you're finding out the kind of content that they're going to resonate with. So by the time you put this golden ad in front of them, you've already got a high likelihood of it working. Like, this is what I really like about it. It's not just like, you know, throwing a dart out there somewhere in advertising land. It's like you pretty much have a good idea who the people are that are going to resonate with. You pretty much have a good idea of the kind of content they're going to resonate with. So you've already like totally beat the odds before you even start your first test.
Exactly. That's the exact reason we set it up. Instead of people spending hundreds of dollars to test out landing pages, we'll test the place where you know that these people have seen your videos, your content on a regular basis. They've already selected this as great content, right?
Yeah.
So we tell people,
awesome.
okay, look, if you're starting this out with the like campaign, you'll start to see people who watch videos or visit posts. Shecky, that's when you should set up your retargeting. People think they're going to set up the retargeting before they run traffic. No, just make sure your offer works to your like page, then set up retargeting for conversions. And a lot of times you'll see these retargeting website clicks for under $1. And then here's the biggest thing, Shecky. And this is the thing that I really hit home with Nick, and then I was talking to my brother, and then I'll go over the last couple of slides very, very quickly. But I'm like, look, if we have this highly qualified audience, highly qualified, and this really goes through steps, 7 through 12 that we talk about on the scale method. But look, if you're consistently doing steps 1 through 7 that I just talked about here, you're always building a new audience, always. It's like you're always getting new leads. And you always have new engagement in front of them. So if at any time that you feel your funnel is not performing, or if you want to have an additional offer, like for example, this week I'm going to do an updated presentation for Social Media Ad Genius that we're going to deliver to our list. But what Nick and I decided is we go, well, actually, we haven't had this in a while, but just the way that the universe, or just the way that it works out, we have 3 spots open on our production schedule over the next 60 days for our agency. So we're just going to go ahead and send out an email. I'll do a little video, and I'll send out this special offer that says, hey, look, for a limited time only, we have an opportunity if you would want to work with us either one-on-one in coaching. I have 3 slots I've opened up for myself, or Shecky has a couple of slots that have recently opened up, or with the agency as well. But I don't have a permanent offer of where we're running stuff in the agency, because all of our stuff is almost 99.9% of the time referral only. It's Shecky, this is a great way where people need to be reminded, hey, if your funnel didn't work, you're still getting likes and engagement, send them another type of offer, right?
Right.
And your website clicks are typically going to be underneath $1. Here's the thing. Once you understand the content over on Facebook, and you're like, hey, look, I got this content going. I'm already doing some videos, got some likes. I understand what Kurt's saying is I never have to start over my funnel, because I'm never starting a new funnel, stopping it. I'm always running this likes. I'm always testing new funnels. Not testing brand new ads. You're testing new funnels. Your ads are always running. Well, Shecky, if someone's already doing YouTube, Shecky, you're going to love this. You just take your Facebook video and you upload it to YouTube. Now, we're going to be doing some more training on this in the next couple of weeks. But Shecky, I bet you didn't even know this. Did you know that you can retarget people who have watched any of your YouTube videos, visited your website, or you can upload email addresses? But again, it's all retargeting. But you can retarget people on YouTube for typically less than 25 cents. Sweet. And what happens is all the video ads look like this. So someone goes to YouTube, this type of ad is going to play. Someone goes to another related site, it could appear over on the right-hand side in these different areas. And again, it's really cheap clicks. Or go one step further, Google Display Network. So if you're producing regular blog content, you may want to consider Google Display Network for retargeting video views, website visitors, conversions, and you can even use email addresses as well. Now, if you're going to use Google Display Network, you have to have a Google compliant page. I don't have time to go in here. You can look that up on Google, or we can talk about it another time. But Google Display Retargeting. So you leverage the Google Display Network for retargeting your targeted audience back to your Google compliant website for content or conversion. So Shecky, basically what's happening, like if I'm already doing a blog, or like we're doing this video that's hosted on our blog, I'm going to run some Google Display ads for this content. So anybody who's watched any of our videos, visited our website, has opted in, or even bought at any time, that they're going to see this article, because we're producing content like what's clickbait, why did Blab die? We want to make sure that everyone sees our content. So we're going to use Google Display just to send people back to our blog so people can read more information. So Google Display retargeting examples look something very much like this. See, you have all the different types of banners that you can use as well. By the way, all these banners weren't created by anybody professional. It's by myself. There's actually a little template to do it inside of Google Display Network. And again, this is something we'll be training on later as well, but especially just for the retargeting before you get in the cold marketing, it can work out great. Gmail. If you're producing regular blog content, you may want to consider Gmail sponsored ads for website visitors, conversions, and email addresses. Google compliant pages required. You can't send Gmail ads to a YouTube video. And basically, Shecky, just one of the last slides, basically here's what it looks like. Is the strategy is, hey, just wanted to let you know this content's here, and you can advertise actually inside of Gmail. And again, we're just doing a retargeting, and this is what it looks like. So collapsed at the very top right here, this is what people would see inside of their Gmail. Collapsed ad on mobile, you may see this on mobile. You open it up, there's a picture of a testimonial, you click on it, you go right back over to our website, comes down for a sale. But Shecky, for the most part, I wanted to put this through to show people that if you are focused on relevance, and this is, I'm gonna take this off here for a second. I'm gonna come back over and stop sharing my screen. If people focus on relevance, notice how I use Google Display, notice how I use YouTube, and notice how I use Gmail ads. All I'm doing is retargeting content. So as soon as I have a new offer, I just have to update one blog post, Facebook, Google Display, Gmail. I mean, it's all there, right? We have Google Display, yeah, YouTube, Gmail, and Facebook, right? All four components. Like, as long as you're relevant, you're just, I think the biggest frustration I had, Shecky, you've heard me say this before, is when people start and stop. It's because they don't know if their content's relevant. If you know your content's relevant right here, Facebook's not going to shut down your ad account, and you can scale long term.
Yeah, agreed.
Any thoughts?
I love what you put together. Well, I have lots of thoughts. Some are even valid. That was, first of all, I love what you put together. I mean, it's just a really cool. A lot of the stuff we've been talking about in scale method, obviously, but just, you know, in kind of a short and punchy. Yeah, I know, it's really great. And I think you're right. It's like when somebody has good, valid content, whether it's their own or something they're passionate about or whatever, the tools are out there now to just be able to be everywhere. I mean, you think about Google Display, you think about being in emails, you think about being on YouTube, you think about being on Facebook. Okay, there's 90% of the online world right there. Yes, I know there's a lot of other networks out there, and that's great if you want to use them, but you just covered 90% of all the traffic that's online, of all the available eyeballs, right? So if you're using those 3 or 4 major networks and you have good content, you are going to be seen, right? And if you, and I also love what you said about the Splinter offers too, because I think this is where we see a lot of our students get hung up, right? They're like, well, I'm going to spend all this time and effort to sell this like $297 program that's going to change the world, right? And the stuff that leads up to it is like this huge effort. They finally get some traffic to it. It doesn't really sell. All right, so you and I both know it could be a million reasons why it's not selling, and it may not necessarily be something that the student's focusing on. It could be just something as simple as a headline. It could be something as simple as, you know, the shopping cart. They may actually have something really good, right? And they've had all this effort to build all the way to that. Why not offer something that's similar in structure, slightly less, slightly more, spun a different way, whatever, because that's where you're going to find out that there's people that are going to gravitate to it in a different way.
Absolutely.
Right? Like a female may speak a more emotional language than a male. And if you happen to change some of that language or the posture of the emotional benefit of that product, right, that to where it appeals to more females, now all of a sudden you got buyers, right, where maybe you didn't have them before.
You know, that's one of the things that we can say even with the Brian Johnson case study, for example, is, you know, we started looking through all of his stats, and over 75% of the people, this is at the time, over 75% of the people, they just, they were females. And we're like, let's just focus on females. And then we had done that for a good 45 days. And then he started structuring his language to females. And then he also started to attract some males, some husbands of the females, some boyfriends, significant others. So now we're changing our targeting again, but he's had such relevant content this entire time. We can reposition the content, do some boost posts, but just because we open up the male audience, it's fine because the content's already highly relevant anyway. So we're just increasing our audience size. So yeah, it works great. I mean, you're always testing a new audience, right? You're always testing to see where you can scale. But the main thing is if you have relevant content, you can retarget and you're not starting over. What you're doing is you're perpetually building an audience. And this is why you're seeing Brian have a, hey, I made $2,000 for my first month doing this. And then I made $10,000 the next month and $32,000 the next month. And the trajectory just goes up like that because it's relevant content. If he stops, a lot of that income starts to stop as well too. But he's not stopping. So
yeah, momentum is a really, really important word for sure. And I think, people oftentimes don't even get themselves into momentum. They're just sticking one toe into the water, and they're not fully committed to the process. The other thing that I wanted to add that I love about what you said is just kind of going back to the earlier parts of the sequence to say, look, when you really understand who your audience is, because you're going to run some like campaigns to some different audiences, right? You're going to kind of figure out who's resonating with the conversation. Right. And then you start looking at your posts and your boost posts and ones that are doing better. You're always going to get to the one like, okay, here's the audience that really likes the conversation that they really like, right? What if you knew that before you fully built out all your product or what you think the posture is of your product, right? You could eliminate all that having to go back and restructure your product. You won't need as many Splinter offers.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Because your main product's going to sell a lot better because you have a lot better idea of who you're talking to and the kinds of language that they're already ready to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. So really just wrapping this whole thing up, we wanted to talk about the death of Blab. We definitely did that. I learned some definite big things about Blab of hey, many people not returning back to watch the replay just because honestly, they didn't have their stuff organized in the first place, right? Besides going, and on the other side of it, just kind of sitting there hanging out with friends. That was pretty interesting. I know, Shecky, what I enjoy doing is what we did all this weekend. We went to dinners together. We hung upstairs, in the lounge. We hung out. Like, I like doing that. I don't really get much, I enjoy delivering content. I just enjoy this discussion we're delivering here. But I just myself don't find myself that I like to sit in front of my computer with 10 friends. I'd rather sit at a bar or restaurant or someplace. Even last night, somebody in our group suggested, hey, let's go to the movies together. And I'm like, hey, that's fine. You go to the movies together with your family who you see all the time. I want to be face-to-face and have great conversations. But I'd rather much do that face-to-face than I would, on a Blab. But I'm interested in the live video feeds. I'm interested in what some people have to say. But I'm definitely, Shecky, in your neck of the woods. I don't really give a crap what most people have to say, especially if you're no damn expert. You just want to make up stuff. And the other thing is it really does is it comes down to relevance. So it's going to be interesting, Shecky, like you said, as relevance, are they going to shorten broadcasts? Are they going to keep them open? It's not about that clickbait. It's all about how can we keep it as relevant as possible. So Shecky, any closing words you want to give to everybody else?
Yes, and I agree with you on a personal level. Yeah, I'd much rather hang out with somebody in person, and you're the energy that you pick up is much stronger, and the relationship that you can build with somebody is much stronger. There's no question about that. But that said, just kind of in this environment of Blab, Periscope, Google Hangouts, whatever, all this technology that we're currently using, I want the viewers out there to understand that, like you said something earlier, we committed to a process to do this every Monday, right? To say, hey, look, we're going to deliver content. So the way yes, we may be building a relationship with you right now, and that's fantastic, okay? But our main goal here is to show you and teach you things that are going on in the marketing world, right? So you yourselves can go and do a better job out there as you're out there leveraging your online marketing skills. So we're not necessarily doing it just to go, hey, look at us, whatever. We end up, this is part of, just to be transparent, it's part of our sales process, right? People understand that we know what we're talking about. They go and check out our other stuff. They become clients, they become students. Maybe they hire us for some consulting. Maybe they hire our agency, right? So we're doing it for a reason by providing value, but we are providing value not only on a consistent basis, but on a regular basis. We're not just jumping onto Facebook Live whenever we feel like it. We are doing this every week, same bat time, same bat channel, right? And so that's by design. So what I would say to the other people that are out there watching us right now, I would encourage you, if you want to create a following and do what we're doing, be consistent, be timely, be valuable, And probably a lot easier than what we do is be entertaining, because I know we're not necessarily that entertaining, but we try, right? But if you can combine those 3 or 4 things and you stick with it, I think you'll do really, really well.
Sounds great. All right, everybody, I got to run to another call. Shaky, thanks for being here again today. Hey, check out the replay that'll be on the blog. And if you haven't already done so, make sure that you'll see one like in the card description over here. Down below in the description, you'll see a link how to get over to a blog if you'd like to get more information about social media, Ad Genius or Black Box Social Media. We're a full service agency. And, hey, we help train people how to run Facebook ads as well, too. We'd love to get to know you a little bit more. We do these every Monday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Awesome.
So until next week, we will see you all again later. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks, Shaggy.
Thank you. Bye.